Hi, I'm Katie Hurtado, and I'm actually doing this from my hotel room out of town right now. So just bear with me. So I think that keeping students informed of their progress during the class is really, really important because it's important to me as a student. I constantly need to know where I stand academically in the class, and I like when I can keep track of my own grades. So a way that I would like my students to be able to do this in the classroom is through, a handout in their notebook. Give them a printout with assignments, maybe test one, test two, test three, so on and so forth, and allow them to keep track of their points as they go throughout the year. Number one, I think this is a really good way to be able to assess your performance in the classroom as far as your study habits and things like that go. If you are studying and you're not getting the result you want, in your grades, then you know that you need to change something. It's not working because your study habits are not reflecting what your grades are. And vice versa, if you are studying, you're doing that you have a certain way that you're studying and it's working and you're getting the grade that you want from that, then you know that you don't really need to make a lot of changes. um, Achievement, I think how to monitor achievement in the classroom, I think is interesting. I think to do this for students, it would be something that I'd want to have them set goals for themselves, like say, I would like to see myself um, achieve this grade in the class or get this many points on a test or learn this material, like set certain goals and then have them throughout the year um, go back and revisit those goals and see what they've achieved thus far. As far as effort and knowledge being weighed in my grading, I think that as far as assessing the knowledge of a student is, you can give them a test or an assignment and right or wrong answer, right? But as far as like the effort goes, I think that that has to be monitored kind of on an individual basis. Um, each student may be putting in, you could put little effort into something and still do well at it. And vice versa, you can put a lot of effort into something and not do well at it at all. So I think it's important to kind of assess that on an individual basis of the student and kind of monitor their progress and maybe see if if they're improving at all or, how much work they're putting into an assignment or, kind of their demeanor in class and so forth. Um, as far as behavior, I think that as teachers, if you have a student that is behaving badly, you might tend to uh, want to not grade them as well, which is unfair. But I could imagine that that happens, and I hope that as an educator, I would never do that to one of my students. Based on our relationship as a student teacher, if it's a negative one, I would hope that I would never punish them by grading them differently or vice versa. If I have a student that I really really like, I would hope that I would never grade them better than I would another student. My hope is that I will be fair across the board and in my grading. So for part two, one of the choice questions that I wanted to answer or talk about was what my initial thoughts were when I watched the Miracle Workers video. I really liked it. I thought it was a really funny and clever way of talking about all these little truths in teaching, like the grading and staying up late on a Sunday night and, kids asking for pens and that type of stuff. I just thought it was a really uh, unique way to kind of talk about those things, the fights and everything like that. Um, so yeah, so my initial thought too was that it was really funny, but then after thinking about it for a little bit and kind of reflecting back on that, there are a lot of truths to it, and